Welcome to Not a Roofers podcast, where we discuss roofing
without all the jargon. I'm Breianna.
And I'm Charity.
And this is today's episode. Hello and welcome back as we continue with our mini-series on roofing types. And this episode we will be looking at PVC and TPO. We are looking at technically two different types, however they both fall under the type of plastic roofing. So that's why we're doing two.
TPO is a thermoplastic, and I'm going to totally mess up this word, but it's a polyolefin. And then PVC is a polyvinyl chloride, but it's also a thermoplastic. So they're both thermoplastics. So TPO is a single layer of synthetic and reinforcing scrim, and then PVC is better resistance to puncture. It's recyclable, and Breianna will like that it is environmentally friendly.
Yes, I love environmentally friendly things. So anyway, overall, PVC and TPO are very similar. They have high strength, durability, and they are wind resistant. However, they obviously have differences as well because they're not the same. So do we want to start with PVC?
I mean, yeah, we can start with either of them.
Let's start with PVC, mostly because that's what I have written down first.
Okay, that's fine.
One of the pros I have for PVC is that it was created for durability. So one of the goals when the creators made it, I don't know when it was made, maybe I should look that up sometime, of when all the different roofing types were created, but one of the goals was that it would be durable, and it is definitely that, as PVC roofing can last 20 plus years, and as with any type of product, it's not going to last forever, so 20 years is definitely a long time.
PVC was created in 1966 by a German company.
Got it.
Called Trocal.
Got it. So 1966. So that's what, 55 years?
I think the only con that I actually have written down is that PVC, out of these two plastic roofs, PVC is the more expensive one.
Yes, I do have that. I'm just going to let you know what my cons are. So to put a PVC roof on, it is likely you will have to have the old roof taken off completely if you didn't already have a PVC roof. More problems occur with age and the climate that you're in, and that when it gets below 50 degrees, you have to restrain foot traffic on PVC roof because it is usually punctured or shattered under that 50 degree. So one of the coolest things that I found when it came to PVC roofing is that it is resistant to chemicals and hazards, and these chemicals and hazards can include grease, chemicals, fires, so on and so forth. When I say it's resistant to chemicals and hazards, think about like all that's coming to mind is a paper factory, and I don't know why. Or like a restaurant. Think about like restaurants, factories that are like making things with chemicals. They have vents where the like exhaust from what they're making goes out. And so having a PVC roof means that if food grease or any of the chemicals get onto the roof, it's not going to hurt the life of the roof or hurt the material of the roof. And the other thing about PVC that makes it a worthwhile product is that it is resistant to fire. So it's difficult to set on fire, and PVC itself burns slowly. And what that does for a building is that if it is set on fire somehow, it gives the fire department time to come and try and save the building and get the fire out. Because the moment that the fuel is taken away, PVC will stop burning, which is normal for a lot of things. The moment you take the fuel away, a fire should go away. But that is a pro for PVC.
I guess a con for it would be because you want to buy PVC from an experienced and reputable manufacturer to receive high quality product so that it works how you want it to.
Yes,
because if you're buying a low quality product from not a reputable dealer, then you will most likely end up with more roof issues.
Which that can go for anything anyway. Well, how about TPO? Got some pros and cons for that?
Yeah, so it's more likely that the seams are going to rip open, and that's where your leaking is going to be caused.
However, if you do have a good company that you're working with that can do maintenance after they install it, it is a lot less likely you'll have problems.
Because they'll catch it before
Because
anything happens.
Yep, they'll know what to look for. A con, or no, not a con. A pro that I have is that it is Energy Star compliant. So a lot of the other ones will say that they're energy friendly and whatnot. But what's interesting about TPO is that TPO is actually, it falls under all of the right categories to be Energy Star compliant, which is a big deal if you're looking at trying to use your roof to save energy costs.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there is a con with this one that if more than 25% of the TPO roof is saturated, it requires a complete full tear off. You can't save it, which is another reason why maintenance is super important, so you can catch that before it
Mm-hmm.
gets to that spot.
Yeah.
It saves you lots of money.
Yeah. I have for a pro that, much like its counterpart, it is also fire resistant. And I didn't mention it when we were talking about PVC, but both of them are very flexible when it comes to roofing, which means that they could just get put into a lot of weird spaces easier than, say, metal or asphalt. But it does fall under the same of being fire resistant and flexible.
Well, that would make sense. I do have for like putting TPO on a roof, you have to use either a bonding adhesive or fasteners, and then on the seams you have to use a hot air gun or a hot air weld to weld the seams together. So it's again, it's not a DIY project.
No. There is one more way. It is not something that people like to do on its own, but it's called ballasted adhered. And ultimately, what happens is the membrane just gets put down and then covered with rocks or gravel as a way of holding it down. I have been on 2 different roofs that have the rocks or gravel. When I've been on there, the seams are also like put down, so they used 2 different methods of installation. But that is another thing, is people will use rocks or gravel, which is another cost that people have to think about.
However, with rocks and gravel, you can end up more with punctures if it hits wrong.
Yep. Well, usually they're gently putting it on, but yes.
It doesn't account for storms, though. Storms move rocks around.
This is true. This is true. So, as we said, PVC has been around for about 55 years, but TPO was first installed in 1986, the first version of it. So, it does not have as long of a time frame of being around. So, a lot of people say that it can last anywhere from 10 to 25 years, depending on how well it's taken care of. And there are other things. We'll get into it in later podcasts when we talk about restoration, but it's similar to the restoration products that we're currently using. They're so new into the roofing scene that people don't know how to feel about them. They don't know how long they'll last. And so it's like, it is a con. It could be a pro in the future. Who knows? Yeah. Any other pros or cons that you have for TPO?
Nope. I think we're good.
Do we want to get on to our definition? I think we should do 2 different definitions. No, maybe one definition.
I mean, well, because there's differences. PVC is a thermoplastic, but it's better resistance to puncture and it's environmentally friendly, whereas TPO is a single layer of synthetic plastic, which is best for flat roofing.
That brings us to the end of today's episode. If you've been loving what you're hearing, make sure to press the subscribe button so you get notified anytime we post a new episode. Episodes come out on Monday and Fridays. Please feel free to share this podcast with a friend. We'd love everybody to be able to join us and learn more about the roofing industry as we go along on this journey. If you don't already, Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. I will put all of our information down in the show notes below. Feel free to contact us with any questions or any roofing ideas that you would love for us to talk about. I hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time.